All right, hello everyone. I wanted to upload this video that's a little bit about kind of researching and how you find good scholarly sources. If you don't need a lot of help in this field, you can definitely sort of move on and not watch the video. But this is just there for you to utilize if you need it and you need some sort of guidance in working through your research for art history. So why is researching important? It's about building knowledge and learning new ideas, discerning between what is fact and what is fiction, and aids with critical thinking. Really, when you are looking at a topic, you want to critically think about what you want to say. What is important about the artist you're researching? What ways can you engage in a dialogue that hasn't been discussed before? And as you go through scholarly sources and sort of read them, you'll start to figure out sort of what there is about your artist, or what there isn't. And so that should help you in developing your thesis statement, or sort of developing where you think your niche is that you can say about the artist that hasn't been said before, etc. So building a thesis statement, it doesn't have to be crazy and brand new, but even bringing forward together like these three ideas are why this artist is this. And then you can prove it through your scholarly sources and in-text citations in particular. Things that are slightly more nefarious, less nefarious, that is, not more nefarious. I see a lot of memes that just like kind of tout misinformation, and like maybe that doesn't really matter to you guys as you post things, and it's not really the point. But this meme that I've seen go around, or I guess sort of quote block, whatever you want to call them. Well-behaved women rarely make history, by Eleanor Roosevelt. Also cited as being by Marilyn Monroe, when in fact it's by, through simple Googling, you can find that it's by a Laurel Thatcher Ulrich. So remember that this information is easy to find. It's just about sort of putting that effort out there, which can be hard, I know, when you have other things to do, but just sort of realizing that whatever you see doesn't necessarily mean it's true. For example, Eleanor Roosevelt nor Marilyn Monroe never ever said this. And some people do cite it correctly. There are others like this one that went around, President Obama's portrait, that this is, we can flood the internet with this picture. I don't even know what this picture is because it's edited so weirdly, and I can't find like a good image of it that's like kind of blurred up. But the official portrait for Obama has not been created yet. It hasn't been painted, according to the White House Historical Society. So we only have the sort of two main ones, right? Which is the one by Kehinde Wiley and the sort of official White House photograph that's on their website. So this image, when you go to sort of protest, right, this, and you spread this image, it's actually not factual. So, when we are looking for sources and scholarly sources for your research assignment, think about sort of peer-reviewed articles that are written by reputable authors, books, journal articles, magazine articles, chapters from books, etc. They can be primary or secondary sources, depending on what artists you have. It might matter whether or not you have primary versus secondary sources, primary being original firsthand accounts of events or time periods written or made during that same time period, original letters, surveys, samplings, focus groups, interviews, government hearings, versus secondary, which are ones that interpret primary sources and sort of investigate some of these ideas. So most sources will be secondary. But if I'm going to be using Van Gogh as an example. Van Gogh has letters that he wrote to his brother Theo. Those would be considered primary sources, as they are by Van Gogh during the time that he was living, versus an article about Van Gogh from 2004 is a secondary source. When choosing an artist or work of art, try not to choose someone that is hard to research. If this sort of blocks you from getting to the ideas and thoughts you really want to work on, don't do this to yourself. I encourage you to try to do something like that. I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think that if you are overwhelmed by research in general and trying to investigate someone, don't pick someone that has nothing written about them, which is because that's going to be a roadblock in you writing about them. If you want a challenge, do it, but otherwise, Google the artists and think about them and really what information is out there before doing it or before choosing them. If you want a challenge, contemplate the types of articles and ideas you can use that you find in scholarly sources to analyze your artist's work or idea. So if you want to investigate an artist that isn't that written about, you can use sources about the artistic period that they're working in, about other artists around the same time. So you can use things to build an argument about them. It's just sort of a harder way to create a research paper. And that's good. It encourages critical thinking. But if you're not ready for that, don't push yourself to do it necessarily. How do you find sources? So how do you find sources for UWM through sort of their resources and databases, and what's kind of good and valuable to you? When you go into the UWM libraries here, let me see, I'm gonna make this bigger. You can obviously search in the UWM library for books. You don't have to go to the library to get books, though. I don't think that that's necessarily required or valuable right this second just because of the pandemic. But I would go into databases. And this is really where you're going to want to look. You can do it this way or just kind of searching through the whole library, like I said, because it should bring up other information. One that I find particularly valuable for like general information is Oxford Art Online, or Grove, it's called as well. Get this up on here. So this is just good for kind of general information about your artist. So again, Vincent van Gogh, let's say we're looking at him. So this will give you a bunch of really good general information about him, giving fact-checked sort of biography and information. And then what's also nice about Oxford Art Online is that at the bottom, it's going to give you all these different sources you can look up. So while being a source on its own, it can also give you some great sources as well that you can utilize in your own works cited / bibliography. Other ones like artful texts are great. I'll write these on the PowerPoint as well. I think we have EBSCOhost. So it should be searchable through, I think, artful text, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, is EBSCOhost. So that is a great site for art historical documents. You can probably use any of these ProQuest ones as well, but this mostly looks historical. But I mean, like, basically, you can always go up to here and change kind of like what kind of database you want, and then use that as well. So it looks like they also have Jstor available to them on here too. But as a side note, during the pandemic right now, Jstor is also available for free. Oh, this is just a Mining the Museum article. But you can basically sign up and read things online right now for free. So use that as well. Google Scholar is also really great, which is another one I have on that document. for sort of looking up sources, and then it'll tell you if it's available to you as well. So you'll see that it has PDFs available. If you click on it, you can get the full article. Usually they're connected up through whatever databases you're allowed in through your school, so UWM, for example. Another good thing that now with the pandemic is that, not that you couldn't do this before, but artful text. Google Scholar allows you to look at some books. Often you'll get kind of limited access, for example, with this one, but you'll still be able to see some of the pages of some of these books. So you can use these books in digital format in your paper as well, which are really helpful. The other one I have on there is just general Googling. Obviously, this is kind of what everyone does. Google Scholar kind of just makes it easier. But like anything by a reputable museum is good. This is a scholarly source and very helpful as well. So obviously you can use sources like that in your works cited. So I've updated some of this here. If you are having trouble, just ask me. I can try to give you a hand and see if I can find anything. And then we can always try to take your paper in a different direction that kind of leads to finding better sources and information and ideas as well. Other sources that are acceptable, all of these are fine. Again, try not to use Britannica. Try instead using Oxford Art Online. I find that much more effective. Never cite Wikipedia and blogs, please, under any circumstances. I get that some of you use it for image citing. I don't care so much about image citing in an undergraduate class, but please don't cite Wikipedia. It's so exhausting. It's not scholarly peer-reviewed, so don't do it. How to know if a resource is reliable if you feel like you don't know. There are a lot of different steps that you can look through. I've also heard of the crap technique. Haha, I know, poop. Hilarious. Looking to see if that information is reliable. So Googling the author, the ideas, see if other people are saying the same things, etc. These two sort of, well, they come in a lot of forms, but this website for artists, so they exist for a lot of artists now, and they're these like .org websites, and as far as I can tell today, they are not scholarly sources to use in your writing. So although they give you good, interesting information, and I don't mind you sort of using them to get like a grip on your artist, you can't cite them. So it doesn't really necessarily help you in that aspect. If anyone can actually find where these websites cite their sources, let me know, because as far as I can tell, all of this information is not cited, which means it is not verified information under any stretch of the imagination. Especially, and it's so highly advertised on that I feel like it's not scholarly. So there are a lot of these, like friedakahlo.org, maxernst.com. So don't cite these unless it's sort of a last-ditch effort, but I would say don't do it. Now, how can you use Wikipedia to your advantage? This is something that is very valuable to you, and I don't mind you going on Wikipedia to get general information. It's not like we all don't do that, but obviously you can't cite it as a scholarly source. So how do you use it in an effective way for your research? So if you go all the way down to the bottom, it will give you a bunch of source information. So look at all these citations. Van Gogh obviously is easy, but you can actually go and look up these sources to be able to use them in your research. So let's see if I can find one that actually will take me somewhere instead of it's just being a book. Okay, so like this. This is a book that has been scanned in as an internet archive. You can't see the full thing. I'm sure you'll have to buy something or whatever. But this is a good source, right? And Wikipedia led you here. So you can use the sources that Wikipedia is citing, but you can't use Wikipedia. So this does help you if you feel stumped, though, and you're trying to find more information. Or like, let's see you read a quote in here, and you're like, that's what I need for my paper. You can go and see what citation they're citing. So this one here. This is something super valuable that I even use today I already have it up. OWL at Purdue, which can help you with citations in citing things correctly. And you're going to be using the MLA guide. So this will tell you how to cite every single citation that you need to cite. So you can see style information, and also style guide, literally books, periodicals, electronic sources, other common sources. So this site is your lifeline to citing sources. So obviously that is a great resource and something that I would recommend to you in using. It'll just really kind of help you out with remembering and sort of making sure that you're citing your sources correctly. I have put up some general information as well that will help you that are on Canvas. And I wanted to show you here these quick. Hopefully. So obviously the guidelines for your paper are in here that just give you sort of general information about what you should be putting in the proposal and the bibliography. Again, I changed this date. Don't forget that. This is really helpful too. I put some sort of general information on how to build an art history research paper and how to build a thesis, things to do, things not to do. This is a valuable resource for you as well. And then I gave you like a sample bibliography as well. So this is what your bibliography should look like when you do it. That it has this hanging indent and that you have all of this information and they're all in alphabetical order, so that's kind of a big pet peeve of mine, so make sure to do that as well. But let me know if you have any questions moving forward or if you need help. I'm more than willing to check your citations or whatever the case may be, but just let me know. And good luck researching.